Every Wednesday, we bring in the head football coach at the University of Albany, and that is Greg Gattusso. Has done a phenomenal job, and this year, once again, for the second time since you've taken over for Coach Ford, you're sitting at a 4-0 record. It's got to be a nice feeling for you, Coach.
Yeah, I mean, I think we're happy, and I think in our wildest thoughts, we weren't expecting to be 4-0 going into the break, so that's a positive thing. And but we played well, and we need to continue to play well and focus on internally on what we're trying to do. And it's gonna be interesting getting them out to practice a day after a couple of days off. So I'm a little nervous about that, but I think they kind of get the routine and what we're trying to do.
Is this a different feel than the first year when you were 4-0 to this year 4-0 in terms of what kind of team you have? You're a better team.
I think we're a better team. I think we're into our recruiting, really 2 really good years. Yeah. I think, the first year we got some good kids, but it was hard the first year we had come in, we got in right around middle of December and didn't have much time to get going. We had a solid year considering how short we had. But, now this last 2 classes are kids we've wire to wire recruited and they're handpicked. And I think there's a lot of talent in the class and, we're excited about it. But no, I think I think we've played, 4 harder games, to be honest, than we did the first year. But the first year was great too. Yeah. It was But
I just felt like the first year, I was like, okay, this is great. But now you're going to get into the CAA, and oh boy, here comes this steady dose of CAA. Now this is just me personally. Now I get the feeling, all right, 4-0. I like the look of this team a lot, especially on the defensive side. Now I go, hey, bring on Richmond, bring on these CAA teams, because I think you have the team that can compete, hang in there, and win these games.
Yeah, I would argue year one they brought in a very, very good JMU team and we took them to the wire, almost got that into overtime. We beat we should have beat Delaware at home and had some good solid wins, I think. But no, there's no doubt. I mean, we're more equipped and ready to go into the 7-game conference right now, and it's big. I think I've talked to the team about, let's make sure we not lose focus on what we do. And yes, Richmond's a big game, and yes, Richmond's in the top 10, but it's all about how we play and how we take care of ourselves. And if we can do our thing, it'll be a really good game Saturday.
What'd you say at halftime this past week? You warned everybody St. Francis is pretty good defensively. They showed that certainly in the first half. You didn't have any points. The offense not really moving too much. You missed a field goal, whatever. You're down 9-0, and you go, oh boy, this would not be cool if you don't make a comeback in the second half. You don't want to lose this game. What was your motivation speech at halftime down 9-0?
St. Francis had a great plan and had a great first half. We were ready to play. I thought we practiced well all week. I'm not going to go back on that. I don't think we were overlooking St. Francis. I think when you watch the tape, we had some opportunities we just didn't execute real well. That would have changed the first half complexion. Even the first drive, we had multiple plays in the first drive that could have been big plays that we just didn't execute. So I credit St. Francis for their game plan. I credit them for their effort level and how they played. We went in at halftime, and honestly, all I talked to them about was, what do you do when one of your brothers are down? That's exactly what I said to them. I said, because we had some kids that were struggling at halftime and a couple guys walking off the field frustrated. Mm-hmm. And we talked about you pick up your brothers and your close friends and you go forward, and we didn't make any real adjustments or anything. We executed better, and I thought the defense rose up and really slammed the door on them. And third quarter, we completely dominated the third quarter and got ourselves back in the game.
Coach, how has your team handled the success that you've been having?
They're good. We don't really the good thing about being in this league for the last few years is it's not they understand what's every week is a challenge. There's no, Elon goes in and beat William and Mary last week, and no one saw that coming. We jump up and beat Buffalo, no one saw it coming. It's not unusual in our league for people to be successful when you least expect it. So, we know every game is a battle, and our whole mentality is honestly is one at a time. It's all so cliche, but one thing about cliches, they tend to be very true. We're just approaching it and try to play our game. Last year we went into Richmond like we had something to prove, and we got ourselves way behind. And this year we need to go out and play our game and battle Richmond. And they're good. They're a really good football team, but I think we're a pretty good football team too.
Hey, Greg, end of the game looked like Nicastro cheap shot on him. At least that's what it looked like from Zach and I in the booth. Things got a little testy after that game was over. And I was thinking the worst with Nicastro because he had to be carted off. And I'm thinking, boy, here we go again with Nicastro, possible knee again. But that's not the case, right? And you think, is there a chance that even though he was injured at the end of the game, he'll be ready to play for Richmond?
I think he has a really good chance. You know, I would say right now I'd put him at questionable and with a lower body. And, you know, it's a life lesson. You know, I talked to the team on Sunday. All this stuff happened. We almost had a major issue at the end of the game. It was not good on the field.
It was close, right?
It was very close. It was very scary, to be honest, having been a policeman and been in crowd control situations like that. It was close, and all because of an assumption. And in the world today, everybody sees something and makes a decision on it immediately without actually looking at facts. And when we turned around and I went up and watched it on tape, one of our players blocked their player in the back.
So it wasn't.
It was not a cheap shot.
Gotcha.
It was if we were doing our job better, that would have not happened. And
how about that?
No one would have any conversation. The end of the game would have been clean. You know, parents in those stands would have calmed down, and unfortunately, you know, I hope we learned a valuable lesson because it was a little scary at the end of the game, and you know, the kids were sticking up for Michael, and there were some kids on the other side that, you know, to be quite honest, I'm not sure they passed class in high school, so you know, and not academically, but actual how to act, and so it was a volatile situation that my coaching staff, I thought, did a great job getting in there and breaking a lot of it up.
I saw everybody pushing everybody away.
One thing good about having a big coaching staff is we can throw our weight around a little bit.
I mean, that was, I said to you earlier in the week.
I was in the middle of it.
Yeah, I go down to the field now, for those who don't know, and interview coach directly after the game. Like, soon as after the handshake is made with the opposing coach, I'm getting a quick hit before he addresses his team. And this kind of all transpired. And I couldn't believe, you know, to your point about St. Francis, some of those St. Francis players were completely out of control, and I thought a lot of your guys showed restraint in it because no one actually threw a punch that I saw.
No, there was no punch.
But there was like a 40-person, 50-person melee.
Believe me, I've been around these things, unfortunately, in my life, and it was a match away, you know, and someone lights a match and it could have exploded. You know, I explained to my coaches, when you go into these things, you have to go in with some faith because you have to put your back to the opponent, and that was what was hard for me. But I went, you know, I went in and faced my players, and my coaches started to turn around and face our players. Once you do that, you can get command. If everybody's facing each other, it's hard to get command.
Right.
And you know, and I thought, you know, I think their head coach, you know, Chris, came over and was grabbing guys and doing a great job. But they had a couple assistant coaches that were more interested in lighting the fire than they were breaking it up. And but to credit our guys, I think our guys did a great job, and there was some restraint and some bruised feelings, but we learned a valuable lesson. You know, I mean, you know, we're not going to embarrass our university. We're not going to embarrass our football program. That's what I told our kids. We're going to shake hands with our opponents, and we're going to do things the right way, and that's all the time. It's not optional, and that's what we're trying to build, and it was a good lesson. And they did go over to shake hands, and they did, even though some of them didn't want to at the time.
Well, I'm glad it didn't escalate any further, and I'm certainly glad to hear the good news on Nicastro because he had 16 tackles for you. A lot of guys had double-digit tackles. That defense was just absolutely lights out, and forcing 4 more turnovers again this week.
Yeah, the turnovers have been. We've forced 4 turnovers in 3 of our 4 games have happened inside the 5-yard line. And I tell the kids when we play goal line to goal line, and they do, you know, they don't give up. And, you know, Mike Nicastro is a special talent. I hope everybody's enjoying watching this kid play because he's one of those rare. Joe Villano was one of those kids that I had the pleasure of coaching, where the opposing coaches would come across the field and say, hey, where's Joe Villano? That kid's unbelievable. Well, we get a lot of that with Nicastro, where the other team comes over and looks for him because he's just a special kid, and he's a really hell of a football player. All
right, 30 seconds here. How good is Richmond?
They're good. I mean, they're just like they've been. They're very athletic. They're very well coached. They have without a doubt the best receiving core I believe we'll see this year. You know, they're a big play team, and it's going to be an interesting battle because we're a prevent the big play team. So, you know, last year we gave them too much. And I think it was an interesting game last year because once we settled down, we started to play pretty well. And we have to play. We have not played 2 halves against this football team, and that's going to be the obviously the plan is to come out and play our game for 2 full halves.
Well, looking forward to it, Coach. Thanks for a few minutes. Homecoming that weekend, too. Next weekend, well, a lot more on Richmond this time next week. Greg Gattusso with us every Wednesday here on Big Board Sports.